Both the Niners and the Vikings got impressive Week 1 wins as the Niners beat Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, while the Vikings went into New York and dominated the Giants here. They will now be playing each other again in this Week 2 matchup here, and the Niners are looking for revenge after the Vikings beat them in last year's matchup. We're going to break down the game. We're going to break down some of the matchups within the game that you need to pay attention to. But before we get into that, if you have not already, go ahead and subscribe to the Tracy Take. And while you're at it, leave a like and a comment. Let us know who you think is going to win this game here. In Week 1 prediction videos, we nearly got 100 new subscribers just through those videos alone. So Week 2, Ryan and I, we have a goal of getting to 100 new subscribers with these Week 2 videos. So any help is greatly appreciated. And Ryan, that being said, let's get into this game here. And so we are recording this right after the Niners game. So let's talk about the Niners first overall, just how they looked before we moved to the Vikings. But Niners looked like NFC champs. They looked very professional. Even too, they made backup running back who's supposed to be there to give Christian McCaffrey some rest. They made him look like Christian McCaffrey. And so overall, just a great team performance, I will say, as well. Offensively and defensively, they made one. They didn't hurt Aaron Rodgers, which is really good. But at the same time, though, they definitely took it to the Jets. They gave up a couple of licks, but you expect that in today's NFL, especially too with Rodgers at quarterback. But still, though, very professional, dominated the middle part of that game, which definitely put it out of reach for the Jets here. What did you think of the 49ers in this game, and also then too? What do you think of the Vikings after that?
Yeah, I mean, there's not much I think I could really say. I like other than just they dominated the game. Like there wasn't much of like a chance, I think, for the Jets. Like it looked like maybe it was going to be close, but then like the 49ers just kept pulling away. They had a ton of possessions, a lot of like stifled this Jets offense pretty early on in the game. They found some success later on, but at that point it was way too little and way too late. And so I really liked what they did. You look, Brandon Ayuk got the extension, Trent Williams got an extension. Like those two guys played very heavy roles in this team being as good as they are. And last night they did a really good job doing what they do. And I don't really see a reason for that to change going forward. Like I think this is just going to be one of the best teams in the league, and really anybody that goes in there, especially in San Francisco, is going to have a really, really tough night. And last year this team traveled well also, so like I don't expect this to be very different for the Minnesota Vikings. If in a lot of ways I actually see it kind of being worse, just matchup wise. But yeah, the 49ers, they looked great, did exactly what you wanted them to do. And yeah, Jake Moody scored 27 fantasy points for me this week, that's always nice. So,
yeah, and I went up against Jordan Mason.
Yeah,
and he beat me by 5 points. I saw McCaffrey was out like I'm gonna win, and then Owen, good job, you did a good job.
Yeah,
picked up Jordan Mason there, you jerk. But I think the thing to me also too, I noticed is the Niners more from Jawan Jennings as well, and even too glad to see Ricky Pearsall on the sideline. I have no idea even what the timetable is for a potential return for Pearsall. Glad he's alive, but if he's even able to come back later on this season, one of the things that I've commented on, which is like a very nitpicky thing to talk about as a potential like weakness of the 49ers, is just depth. But Jawan Jennings played well. They also then too have the kid I'm blanking on that they drafted late in last year's draft who had a couple catches. I think Bell.
Ronnie Bell.
Yeah. And so then him, then Pearsall comes back. Then at least they have some much more improved depth behind any of these guys in case they do get hurt. Vikings on the flip side, complete makeover essentially outside of Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison from the team last year when they played the Niners. And in their Week 1 matchup, I thought they were very professional. I thought defense played solid. Any defense is going to look good against Daniel Jones and the Giants, supposedly. But they made it extremely easy, extremely difficult for the Giants offense here. I thought Sam Darnold and that offense looked great. Aaron Jones in his first game as a Vikings had a phenomenal game. I think it was a very professional, methodical win on both sides of the ball here. And so I'm curious to see how they kind of go into this game against the 49ers. And so let's kind of move to that game. Before we get into that, if you do want to put a couple bucks down on the Niners-Vikings game, check the link down below. BetUS has a bunch of great promotions going on right now for first-time players here. And you can take a look at the odds for this game. You can parlay with it with some other games as well. And also, too, they have college football and NBA, NHL, any other sports that you would like to take a look at as well to place a wager on, to say the least. But kind of with this game, though, it's with all the other games as well. Like there's always been some fun matchup. Like key matchup to watch. Like if Team A wins this matchup here, then I think they can win the game. And so for the Vikings, I just think of this. Maybe Justin Jefferson will have an advantage, but I just think they're at a disadvantage on almost every single layer of
if
this.
we're going by
it's
that,
weird. Like they beat the Niners last year, but it's a totally different team with Kirk Cousins on that offense. And
yeah, I will say like they upgraded the running back room. They still saw like this offensive line is still the same. To me, it's the defensive side of the ball where I think they're really going to get burned because I don't think there's a coach in the league that does a better job of beating blitzes than Kyle Shanahan and kind of the way he coaches up that offense. And like Brian Flores blitzed on almost 60% of his snaps last year. So I think that's going to be a big thing is how do the 49ers handle the blitz and what can Brian Flores throw at this team that they haven't already seen or have a counter for, especially in like crucial third downs and key situations. Yeah. What are they able to draw up there, and can they win third downs? I think if you're looking at a matchup, it's third downs is the one I think that's going to be crucial.
Well, and that's the key difference from this year's game versus last year. Because if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I'm fairly confident Trent Williams didn't play in that game. McCaffrey didn't play in that game. Deebo Samuel didn't play in that game as well. Those are probably the three best players for the team. So when you do play a kamikaze style type defense, like how Brian Flores likes to do with just blitz 60% of the time, then Brock Purdy is going to be susceptible because he's not the best quarterback in the league. He's a great facilitator. He's a great point guard, which is what you want in a quarterback. But that's where the whole success of this 49ers offense is all of the key widgets and pieces moving together in unison, which is what makes it nearly impossible to stop.
Yeah.
And so with all these guys being healthy, I think winning third downs for the Vikings defense is, I think, an excellent point to watch here, because when they get to third down, they got to win that. They cannot allow them to just keep extending these drives because it's going to be a long night for this defense. And on the flip side is they need to try and find a way to hang on to the ball as long as possible. So win third downs on the other side of the ball. Because if I go look at this, they did hold Breece Hall and this New York Jets rushing offense just 68 yards. Some of that might be said to Niners got a lead kind of early and then extended that, so they probably had to run the ball less. But also, too, Niners kind of stymied that Jets offensive line. Didn't really allow them to get the ball rolling to establish the run. And I think that Vikings are going to have to really utilize Aaron Jones, both in the run game and the pass catching department as well. Especially the pass catching department, because it's don't know if Jordan Addison is going to be playing in the game or not. He did hurt his ankle. Luckily, MRIs are looking good. Doesn't look like it's anything serious, but it's week 2 in a long season. You might want to sit this one out. They might be thinking they want him to sit this one out just to get some much needed rest, because you don't want him aggravating that being a season long thing.
And turning it into a much longer issue. And I agree with that. To me, I think this San Francisco front is going to be too good. I think we've kind of coined this term like running the ball through the air, of just setting up your offense and making some really high percentage throws and kind of facilitating a run game in that way. I think is going to be something that the Vikings could potentially utilize. Another thing too, now that like they had 2 turnovers against the Giants, you're not going to be able to hang with the 49ers by making mistakes like fumbling on the third play of your first drive, and then a late interception by Sam Darnold. Like those are just kind of stupid mistakes. When that interception happened, it was already 28-6. So little grain of salt. Take that with a grain of salt. But kind of getting over into predictions, I don't really see a way that the Vikings can come out ahead in this matchup. I think they would have to play a perfect game. Like they would have to get after the passer, send complex blitz packages, and potentially get after Brock Purdy. Like, and then I also think about the receiver depth. Like that's a really tough matchup for their very lackluster corners. Like it's
Yeah.
just really tough matchup all around for the Minnesota Vikings.
This definitely seems like one of those games where it's like, did you win the game or did they lose the game? And like,
Yeah,
it seems like the Niners would have to lose this game for the
yeah.
Vikings to win. I'm also picking San Francisco as well. I just think matchup wise, they're just superior. I think on every level. That being said, though, they might have the Vikings might have the best player in the league in Justin Jefferson, but he's just
Yeah.
gonna be like that. That'd be an interesting video, actually. Who's the better player, Justin Jefferson or Christian McCaffrey? I think that would be an interesting video.
I would probably take Justin Jefferson just based off of the way that the league is going. I mean, he's almost uncoverable.
Yeah, but so is McCaffrey, though. So that's what I think. It's.
I will second my opinion. I still think McCaffrey is somewhat reliant on the offensive line to perform well, whereas Justin Jefferson is not. Justin Jefferson can create for himself. He is relying on a quarterback to throw him the football, but if the offensive line has a bad day, it's more than likely Christian McCaffrey is having a bad day also.
Yeah, potentially. They're both relying on the key success of other players. I guess that's the whole point of football. So
everybody's relying on each other.
But that's a fun video for another time. We both have the Niners winning this week 2 matchup here. I think it's gonna be close, potentially at first, but then the whistle's gonna blow and the game's gonna start, and then I don't think it's gonna be close after that.
Yeah. I just see San Francisco taking the lead and kind of winning this one, all like going wire to wire with it. So let's go ahead. Let's wrap this episode up here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. It is the best way to help out the channel. While you're at it, go ahead and leave a comment on who you think is going to come out ahead. Will it be the San Francisco 49ers? Will it be the Minnesota Vikings? Knowing that, we'll see you guys next time.